I know you've already heard from me, but I have one more story to share this morning that I felt like God has really been teaching me. So this past summer, I was asked by my aunt and uncle, who are actually here today, if I was able to stay with my grandma as they took a much-needed vacation. My grandma had a few health issues this past year during COVID and had been to lots of doctor's visits for these. And my aunt and uncle are incredible and so selfless and have taken her in to live in their condo with them. And they have done an amazing job of taking care of her for our family so she wouldn't have to go somewhere like an assisted living. So after this past year of being cooped up, caring for her and taking her to many appointments, they needed a break from caring for her, understandably so. Of course, there's always a part of you, that doesn't want to be out of the comfort of your own home and take on an extra responsibility, but I really felt like I was supposed to say yes. My jobs this summer have been flexible enough that I was able to be with her and not have to take off any work. And this was a way that I could bless my family. And God basically gave me zero excuses to not say yes. So in July, I got to stay with my grandma for 4 days and got to spend some really precious time with her, hearing her stories about herself and stories about my dad, playing games, sharing meals, and of course, going through tons of photo albums of when she was young, as well as looking at photos from my dad's childhood. At the time I stayed with my grandma, her health wasn't perfect, but she was doing overall pretty well. This past month or so, my grandma's health has been very up and down. She has been in and out of the hospital as well as in a rehab facility. There was days that we thought she would make it, and then other days that we thought she would not. On September 11th, we got word from my aunt and uncle that she was in the ER at the hospital and that we could come see her. Before, she was in a rehab facility and they were on COVID lockdown, so we could not come see her. So my family took the opportunity to go see her. When I got to the hospital, she was quite unresponsive and was having a really hard time breathing, and she just looked so uncomfortable. My heart was literally breaking. We were there for about 4 hours, and she hadn't done much talking at all that day. And as my mom, Evan, Elise, Kurt, and I were saying our final goodbyes, I leaned into her ear and I told her how much I loved her, how grateful I am for her, and how blessed I was to have her as my grandma. After being unresponsive all day, she leaned up to me, she gave me a kiss, and she whispered that she loved me. That moment was truly one of the most special moments of my life. We found out the next Tuesday that she had passed away. And thinking back, if I would have said no to staying with her back in July, I would have completely regretted it. I wouldn't have had that precious time with my grandma. And at the time I was staying with her, we did not know that she would be in and out of hospitals in the next couple of months, and we didn't expect her to pass away so suddenly. What I learned from this is that God's timing is perfect, and we need to say yes to every single opportunity He gives us to shine His light and be there for others. Thinking back in my life, anytime I've ever felt like God wanted me to do something or say something or give something, I've never thought back to myself, I wish I wouldn't have done that or given that because then I would have had time for this or that. When God calls you to do something, He literally gives you the time and the resources to be able to do it. I'm a person that loves to schedule out my time and plan out my weeks. And I can tell you for a fact that every time I have taken the time to talk with a friend who has needed me or spent time with someone who I know has been feeling lonely, I've never struggled to get things done that I've needed to get done. God gives me exactly what I need every single time to do what needs to be done. And even beyond that, He blesses you because you've taken the time to say yes to what He is asking you to do. I just want to encourage you to be available to what God wants you to do. The prophet Isaiah in chapter 6, verse 8, heard God say to him, "Whom shall I send, and who will go for us? And I said, Here I am, send me." Whether that's a big change in your life or just taking the time out of your own schedule to spend with someone else, listen to Him and say yes. You will never, ever regret saying yes to what He calls you to do.